It really differs with different people. And I'll give you some examples, but I've been doing this work now for 5 years. So I've had so many conversations and so many experiences working with different people that I do see some patterns that are, common themes for most people. So a couple things. People typically doubt themselves, or are full of self-doubt when a situation like what happened to me happened, when you get fired, when your sense of normalcy change is thrust upon you and you're not the one choosing it, right? So in those moments, that idea of uncertainty, unknown, can feel really scary to people, and typically they'll internalize that as, oh my gosh, I'm not going to succeed. I'm not good enough. I'm not going to. And I did the same thing, right? I absolutely felt that way when all these things happened. So there are certain things that you need to do. Number one, for me, asking for help was a big power play, right? Coming right out, I posted that I had been fired and I wanted help. And that post went viral and brought me so many incredible opportunities. But so many of us feel ashamed to ask for help. So I ask people to reframe that as, I'm so committed to finding a way to succeed and get through this, and I'm asking for, that's how committed I am to this, right? I'm going to do something that's a little out of the norm. The other thing is, you're denying people the opportunity to help you when you don't ask. And so often, I was teaching during the pandemic, and one of the elements in the class was there was a social media component that the students had to excel at in order to get an A. And finally, one of the students asked me, would you be willing to post something for us, Heather, to hit these KPIs? And I said, of course, I'm happy to do that. It'll take me 30 seconds. I'm so happy to help you. I'm grateful you asked, right? But people were afraid to ask initially. So don't deny other people that gift that you could give them, because everyone loves helping somebody else when it's not a big deal to them and they're happy to do it, right? So don't deny that to other people. One of the other things that I see with people is spending time. I worked side by side with a woman that hated me for years. I used to think it didn't impact me because I would just ignore her. What I found over time is it was really wearing away at me very quietly every day. So making sure you don't allow negative people into your sphere of influence, that's a really critical component. Another thing is asking yourself what you love to do and then checking in with your schedule and saying, am I doing these things daily, right? So if you don't enjoy being isolated, yet you're choosing to be in a job that you work from home alone every day, you need to take action and change that. That's going to help you feel more confident, more in your element. And so many people will be in accounting when they really should be working in the art industry because that's their passion. Figure out what your passion is and then find a way to redirect yourself there. That's going to help with your confidence as well. Reminders are a great way to amp up your confidence. I actually have a new product out called Soul Sayings that has positive messaging for your shoes, but put positive messaging throughout your life. Have reminders in your phone of what you're capable of to remind you on those days when things aren't going that great. We're all going to have those tough days, right? And we need to remind ourselves to pick ourselves back up.
But maybe think about what the power dynamics are in a room. Or if we found there are certain ways people talk, right? Where they might have a new idea, but instead of just putting your new idea out there, you say, I'm not sure if any of you are going to like this idea, but now you've already sort of denigrated your idea before you even stated it. So there are things you can do to kind of make yourself, you sort of own your space. It could be physically, it could be how you talk, it could be how you act. That's one part of it. But then there's a whole other part of it, like just really understanding what you're good at. We call that like knowing what your superpowers are. And I happen to know my superpowers are being able to understand what a customer wants to buy and being able to then take that back inside my company and either turn it into a product or service or
write a letter to your future self. Man, that's awesome. What is that
cool?
all about? That's super cool.
Yeah. So, I've heard sort of this riff off of, people, what advice would you give to your younger self? But this is different. So this is, writing something to your future self. So it can be in lieu of a resolution. It can be, what do you want to happen by, New Year's Eve 2021, right? Yep. Or, you can pick whenever. But there's a website called futureme.org where you can literally do this. You type in something and you can set a future date right? So it can be like, okay, I want it by next year, or it can be some milestone. Perhaps you have a milestone birthday. There's some sort of important date for your business. There's some sort of marker in time that you want. So if you do that, you plug it all in and you can email to yourself, and you can make it public or private, but it will send you an email, and you'll probably forget about it, but you'll get it. And you'll be able to kind of review stuff. And what's really helpful in doing something like this is that you can visualize the future you want, right? Nothing is off limits.
Yep.
It's a letter to yourself, but what would you want to be reading about? Like, and you can write it as if it's already happened. Like, dear Amy, wow, what a year 2021 was. You accomplished X, Y, and Z, or you were able to break free of this, or you left sort of things that didn't serve you in the past, and now you're doing this. So it's very empowering. And those that believe in like visualization and sort of this exercise, this is a very concrete way to do that. Right.
Yes.
So I stumbled across that website and I thought, oh my God, how perfect. And I have done a version of this for something else.
Okay.
I obviously am very technologically savvy, but I still use pen and paper, and I have it taped up on my wall, something where, it's like, I will do this. And then you write it out to yourself. And it was like, and just kind of thinking through the what ifs. Yes. And when I say the what ifs, I mean the good what ifs, because I think there are a lot of people that let the what ifs hold them back.
Yep.
But it's like the possibilities, right? And because you're the one writing the story, you can ensure it has a happy ending. So it's a much more positive thing to do, because even if you fall short of what you thought, something awesome, something else might happen, or you've already made it that far. So I think it's a wonderful exercise.
That's amazing.
Talking about cooking. All right, Rosalie, give us one tip, one recommendation you would love to share to the thousands of professionals that are going to listen to this podcast.
Don't get discouraged.
Amen.
That there are dips and valleys and peaks in every profession, and customer service is the key. And as long as you continue to provide customer service, you might not have 100 clients, but you'll have 50 clients coming back.
Amen. Thank you so much. I feel you're talking